Hello everyone and welcome back to another Year 5 and 6 English tutorial. Today we are going to be looking at the active and the passive voice. This is something that isn't taught in primary schools normally until Year 5 and 6. So for some of you, this will be something that is completely new that you're going to learn today. And for some of you, we have talked about it a little bit in class, I know, in Year 6. So for some of you, it will just be a recap and a little bit of revision for you. So we're going to start with the active voice because that is the one that you will be most familiar with. So the active voice, what is it? So the active voice is when the subject of our sentence, so remember that's the person in our sentence or the thing in our sentence that is performing the verb. The subject is performing the main verb's action. Okay, so they are the one doing the main action in the sentence. Okay, and when sentences are written in the active voice, they come across as very strong and very clear, and they are very common in most types of writing. Okay, and we're going to have a look at a few examples here. So I have underlined for you here the subject of our sentence. So it says, I teach more Pergo class. Our subject is I and the main verb is teach. Okay, I am doing the teaching, so the subject is doing the main verb, so it's been written in the active voice. In this next sentence, it says, he is announcing the winner. Now, he is the subject in that sentence. And then the main thing that is happening is the announcing. So the subject is doing the main verb. So it is again written in the active voice. That one is present progressive. So these have all been written in slightly different tenses, but they are all the active voice. Let's have a look at the next one. It says, you have won the cup. Now the subject, I've underlined it here, is you. Okay. The main thing that's happening is that they have won. Okay, so the subject is doing the main verb. It is you that has won it. So that is written in the active voice. We've got this one here. We mowed the lawn. Now the subject is the we, and the main action of that sentence is the mowing. Okay, that's the lawn had been mowed. Okay, the subject we is doing the mowing. So that has been written in the active voice. Here we've got they were eating the ice cream. They is our subject. The main thing that's happening is the eating, and it is they that are doing the eating or were doing the eating. So that has been written in the active voice. And then this last example I've given you here, it says the burglar had broken the window, which has been written in the past perfect tense there. The subject is the burglar. The main verb in that sentence is broken. That's the main thing that has been done. Something's been broken. Okay, it was the subject, the burglar, who did the breaking of the window. So that has also been written in the active voice. Okay. So then, it's easier to see the difference then if I go on to explain for you now what the passive voice is. Now, the passive voice is when the subject isn't the person who's performing the main action of our sentence. Okay, it's formed normally, we have the subject, then we have the verb to be. So it might be is, are, or am if it's in the present tense. It might be a was or were if it's in the past tense. It might have been a has or a have been if you're writing in the present perfect. It might be a were being, it might be an was being and is being. So there are lots of different ways that this bit could be written, but it'll be much clearer once you know what your sentence is. Then you use the past participle of the main verb. Okay, and we've talked about that before. And then you've got this optional bit at the end with the by. So one of the big clues when a sentence is written in the passive voice is that there can be a by at the end of the sentence. It was done by whoever. Okay, so let's have a look at some examples that will make it a lot clearer for you, I think. So in this sentence, we've got more Pergo class are taught by me. Okay, now the subject in that sentence, remember the subject will always come before the verb, always, always, always. The subject in this sentence is more Pergo class. Okay, the verb that is happening, the main thing that is happening is about this teaching. So this verb taught, that's our main verb. But Pergo class aren't doing the teaching. It's not them who are doing the teaching. So that sentence has been written in the passive voice. They're having the teaching done to them. Okay. And then at the end, you can see this little bit that I've said by me. You don't always need that bit. at the end of your passive voice. It depends what your sentence is going to be, but you can often have this by me at the end. So let's have a look at this next example. In this example, remember, subject always comes before the verb. Subject here is the winner. Okay, the main thing that is happening in this sentence is that something is being announced. So that's our main verb. The winner is the subject. Announced is the main verb, but it's not the winner who's doing the announcing. They're having the announcing done about them. Okay, so this sentence has been written in the passive voice because our subject is not the one who's doing the main verb. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. We've got the cup is the subject. The cup has been won. The main thing that has happened in that sentence is that something has been won. So won is our main verb. But it's not the cup that has won. The cup didn't win. The cup was won by someone else. It had the winning done to it. Okay, so that sentence again has been written in the passive voice. We haven't got the by at the end. We might say the cup has been won by Timberwood Academy. Okay, but we don't have to have that bit at the end. It's useful sometimes if we don't know who it was done by. The cup has been won, but we don't know who by, then sometimes it's useful to use this passive voice. We've got this next one, the lawn, which is our subject. The lawn was mown by us. Now, the main thing that's happened in that sentence is the mowing. So that is our main verb. But it wasn't the lawn who did the mowing. It had the mowing done to it. So that means that this sentence, again, has been written in the passive voice. Now, I'm just going to give you two more examples of this using these ones over here. So it said, they were eating the ice cream. So now to write it in the passive, I'm going to flip that sentence round. So I'm going to start this time with the ice cream. Okay, I've got to be careful with what tense I'm in. It said they were eating, so it was happening at that time. Okay, so I'm going to say the ice cream was being eaten. So my was being is this bit here. Our to be bit of our verb. Was being eaten. And I do know who did it because it told me it was they. So I'm going to add at the end, was being eaten by them. So it might be by the children, by the teachers, by the parents. We don't know who, but we know it was them, whoever them is. Okay, then we'll do one last example. This time we're going to be using the past perfect, that tricky verb form that we learnt during the Easter holidays if you were watching the tutorials. So over here it said the burglar had broken the window. So to write it in the passive, I'm going to flip it round so that the window comes at the beginning of my sentence. So I'm going to say the window, and I'm looking carefully at the tense I'm writing in. It said the burglar had broken the window, so it had already happened. So I'm going to say the window had been broken. Had been broken. And then I could add by the burglar. I'm not going to, for the sake of this one, for the sake of speed. So I could have said the window had been broken by the burglar, or I can just say the window had been broken. We don't know who did it. Okay, so when you don't know who's done the action, the passive voice can be really, really useful. So if I said to you, for example, my bag was stolen, my bag didn't do the stealing, it was stolen. So that means that I'm using the passive voice. But if I didn't know who it was stolen by, that is very useful to be able to say it in the passive voice. The bag was stolen, because I wouldn't be able to say Bob stole my bag. So it's very useful if you're not sure who did the action. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take this away. Hopefully that's made it clear. Remember, you can rewind the video and refer back to that if you need to during the challenge. So what I've got here is a table. Now on this side, you'll see some sentences that I have written in the active voice for you. On the blue side, you'll see some sentences that I have written in the passive voice for you. What I want you to do is to change the ones that have been written in the active into the passive voice, and the ones that have been written in the passive voice into the active. So I'm just going to read those sentences out quickly for you. So this one says, I clean the house every week. I don't know why I've joined those two words together. They shouldn't be. The speech is given by the head teacher. They broke her heart. The race was completed by Bolt in record time. That boy is yelling at me. The weeds were being dug up by the gardener. Today I have smashed 2 glasses, and that day I had been disappointed by you. Okay, so pause the video there, have a go at rewriting the active in the passive and the passive in the active, and then once you've finished, replay the video and I will reveal what answers you should have had. Okay, so hopefully you have had a go at rewriting those sentences for me. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to peel off these bits of paper to reveal to you the answers you should have had. Okay, you may find that you have rewritten some of them in the correct voice, but you've changed the tense slightly. Okay, so if you haven't got exactly what's on here, just look very carefully at where you have made what it is in your sentence that has changed. Getting the tense right is really, really tricky. So there is what you should have had. All of the byes at the end are optional. Okay, so if you didn't include them, then don't worry. If you did include them, then great. Okay, but hopefully you have got something that matches up very similarly to that. You can have a go at writing some more sentences of your own to secure that skill. But thank you so much for watching today's tutorial, and hopefully I will see you on the next one.